Hello there. Today I'm going to talk about books that I have read so far this year. I have 4 right in front of me, and then I have the other 9 on my phone because I rented them from the library. And so I hope that you will enjoy this video and that you will start reading and enjoy. I had to go grab my little Post-it notes that has all the books that I've finished in the last couple months. This is actually all the books that I have completed since the beginning of the year. So far I've read 13 books this year. My goal was to hit 25 for the whole year, so I'm on track. I just can't believe we're halfway through the year already almost. It's crazy. Okay, so the first book that I read was called The Return by Rachel Harrison. Let me see if I can pull them up here. Okay, so the first book that I read is called The Return by Rachel Harrison, and it was a horror genre, and it's about 4 friends that get together for I think they go to like a cabin or something, and something is wrong with one of their friends and they're not quite sure what's up, and it was kind of creepy, just the way that they explained, like I guess it was like they explained someone as being like grotesque, and I was really on board with the whole book until like some parts at the end where I was just like I don't know, it was just kind of weird. I don't want to spoil anything, but just when you find out what happened to the girl, like how something happened to their friend that something's wrong with, it's kind of like, okay, I guess. I thought it would be more like a ghost type thing, but it wasn't. Looking back on it, I would probably I'd rate it a 3, because on Goodreads, when I rate something a 3, that just means like, yeah, it was good. Like, it was good. I probably won't reread it myself, but it was okay. And the next one that I read was called The Perfect Stranger by Megan Miranda. The cover is like this. Perfect Stranger. And this one kind of took me a while to read because I liked the story, but it was just a little slow, I guess. I feel like that happens with me a lot. I have to read halfway through the book. Like the first half, I'm always really, really slow at reading, and then the second half is like finish it really fast. This one's about a girl who she relocates and she has a roommate, but they have totally opposite schedules. And then one day her roommate she's like, I usually like see her keys or hear her when she gets home or something. But in this case, she like had not heard from her roommate, and she started thinking like, okay, I think something's wrong. And it was okay. So another one. This was a really fast read. It's called Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. Convenience Store Woman. So I saw this one at an Amazon bookstore, and I was like, oh, that one looks really interesting. So I put it on my list, and I got it from the library. By the way, any of these books that I'm showing you on my phone, that's because I rented them at the library. The ones that I actually have physical copies of, I'll show you. They're right here, actually. So this one, it was a really fast read about a girl who has worked in a convenience store in Japan for like half her life. So she's in her 30s, and you know, she deals with the pressure of people talking about, you know, like, why don't you have a career, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of her like deciding like, I want to do what makes me happy. I think she has some like social anxiety, and so for her it's just comfortable to have the same job and have like a routine life, and she just really loves the convenience store. It's just the way they describe it. I was just like, man, I wish like I could have so much passion like that for my job. Like the way she describes hearing the sounds in the convenience store, like the sounds of customers or the sound of like putting wrapped goods or something away. Anyway, so I just really enjoyed it. I just really liked this book. I thought it was really good. The next one. I've talked about 5 Feet Apart before. Then that's a book about a girl that has cystic fibrosis, which I also have. And so I really loved that book. And so the authors, Mickey Daughtry and Rachel Lippincott, came out with another book earlier this year, and it's called All This Time. And there we go. I think the cover is beautiful. I really, really love the cover. Same with the 5 Feet Apart cover. It's beautiful. All This Time, at first I didn't like it because, like I said, like reading half of the book was slow and it was hard to get into. But I just think that's because like I would only sit down and read for like 10 minutes or something. But once I got halfway through and the story like really started developing, I loved it. I couldn't put it down like near the end of the book. And I had all these theories about like what was happening. And then all of a sudden you get to the end of the book and you're like, that was cool. Like, I do not want to give any of it away just because I loved reading it and being like, oh, that's what's going on. Because let's just say the whole time I was reading this book, it's about a guy who gets into an accident and loses his girlfriend, and it's about him recovering. And then he ends up meeting a girl who helps him. You just have to read it. I loved it. It was beautiful, and I'm pretty sure I gave that one 5 stars because I liked it a lot. The next one, I'm sure very many people read this book this year, Shadow and Bone. I saw that Netflix was coming out with a new show, and I love watching shows on Netflix a lot. And I was like, oh, Shadow and Bone, this looks like, it sounds kind of interesting. And I heard other people on YouTube talking about it, and I was like, okay, I want to get it for myself. I actually really liked this book. And I really like the show too. Little did I know that the Netflix show was also had another book by Lee Bardugo, Six of Crows, which I have not read. So since I haven't read that, I feel like it might be, it was spoiled, definitely, for me. But anyways, I like it. So the next book that I read, I think it's my favorite book of the year so far. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Foley. So, I've heard good things and bad things about this book. So some people like it and some people don't. I loved this book. I am a huge fan of Agatha Christie's book called And Then There Were None, which is a bunch of people go to an island for a party, get killed off one by one. This book kind of reminded me of that. When I read the synopsis, I was like, that sounds like a book I would like. I got into this one pretty quickly, like 30-40 pages in. I was like, okay, I like this. I loved how we saw multiple perspectives throughout the book. I think there was like 4, 5, 6 people that every chapter was like what was happening from their eyes. I really enjoyed that. So I highly recommend this. I gave it 5 stars. Highly recommend. Okay. The next one that I read was called My Almost Flawless Tokyo Dream Life by Rachel Kahn. There's the cover. It's a YA book. There's a book that just came out called Tokyo Ever After. And the synopsis seems really similar to this one by Rachel Kahn. So this one's like a girl, she's an orphan, and one day she gets picked up, and it's like, you're gonna live with your father in Tokyo. And so she goes, and he's like this, he's like a CEO of some big hotel. The family has money, and so she lives with him, and she struggles with not fitting in with the family. And it was an okay read. It was very, very short, so it wasn't bad. You can read it in a day, probably. So I read a poetry book called Pillow Thoughts by Courtney, was it Peppernell? Yeah. And my whole purpose of reading this book was to help me with a photography class that I was taking. We had to take some kind of written work, and I chose a poem, and we had to create imagery for it. And so I chose this one poem about, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was something along the lines of like, if your love is a balloon, like I'd tie it to my finger and like I wouldn't let it go until you wanted it to, something like that. And so I bought 2 balloons that were like heart shaped, and then my boyfriend and I went out, and I had these pictures, and it was like us releasing them together, but I didn't actually release them. I just edited it out to make it look like I let them go. And I really loved how it turned out. It was really cute. It's like, anyway, I really enjoyed that project, and it's really cool. Like, if you ever want to take a poem or take a quote from your book that you like and try to imagine, like, how can I put these words like into an image? It was actually really fun to think about how to do that, and like the end product is really nice. I think I want to take that photo and put the poem, like write the poem, put it, like Photoshop it in or over it or something, and print it. I think that would be really fun because I really liked it. Anyway, but the poetry book is really nice. I really like, there's sections that was like, if you're single, if you're heartbroken, if you're in love, like, so I thought it was really cute how it was organized that way. Okay, another book. This is my first book by Darcy Coates. This one was called Dead Lake. Now this one, I didn't really like it because I didn't care for the main character, because I thought that she did some dumb stuff. Like, so she's a painter, and she went to her uncle's cabin in this remote lake, nothing around it for miles. She's totally isolated. There's no phone, no electricity, like nothing. And she's there, and like the first day she's there, she sees this like scary figure like on the boat dock. Like she's like, oh, it's just a shadow. But she keeps like seeing it, and like, I don't know, it's just like, why are you there by yourself? I don't know. And then she just makes some not smart decisions. Like, for example, let me give you one. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can fast forward a little bit. But like, she was trying to procrastinate. She didn't want to paint. And so she was like, I'm just going to go on the canoe in the lake by myself. So she like heaves this canoe, which I'm assuming canoes are kind of heavy, drags it to the lake. She goes in it. She's not very like steady on it. I don't know. It's just like, it's like she was trying to make her life complicated. I don't know. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I gave that book 2 stars because I was just like, I was just kind of fed up with the girl. But the creepiness of it was good. Like, if you want a creepy book, I think that's good. Okay, the next one, this was a book I really liked. I haven't read anything by this author. It's in the horror genre, and it's called Final Girls by Riley Sager. And I just really liked this one. I remember finishing it and I was just like, whoa, that was good. So Final Girls is a term for the final girl standing like in a massacre. Like, a sole survivor. So the girl, the main character in this book, now I can't remember names for the life of me. I don't know any of the names of the characters, so I just say like the main person. Anyway, they were in a massacre. So she was at a cabin with a bunch of friends, and something happened. All her friends were killed, but she survived. And the story is just about her, and there's a couple other girls that are also final girls. And one of the final girls dies. And so this girl wants to figure out what happened. So that's the kind of the whole premise of the book. Like, did she actually, like, why did this girl die? Like, what happened? And she looks into it, and let's just say there were so many twists and turns. Like, I was like, who did what? I don't know. The next one I got, Anna K by Jenny Lee. I kind of like, I didn't love it, but I liked it. The story went by fast. There's a lot of characters, but I still liked it. Like, if you're a fan of like Gossip Girls or like the social elite kind of books, I think you'd like this. So this is about a girl, Anna, and she, by the way, Anna K, it's like a modern retelling of Anna Karenina, which I haven't read, so I don't know how similar the storylines are or anything, but yeah. So this one is about a girl. She's a Korean American, has a perfect boring boyfriend. I'm pretty sure the synopsis says that. Oh yeah, she has a perfect, if perfectly boring boyfriend. But she actually falls for a kind of troublemaker kind of guy. So yeah, so the whole story is kind of about that, how she's kind of struggling with what do I want to do with my life, kind of. I recommend this one. There is a second one that came out as well, so. Okay, and this one, I actually just finished this. Nancy Drew, The Curse by Michael Osto. Nicole Osto? I don't know. This author has worked on like Buffy the Vampire, Charmed, Mean Girls. So I was like, cool, I want to read this. And if you can tell, these are all my Nancy Drew books over there. Big fan of Nancy Drew. And this is a prequel. This says right here, prequel to the CW show, which I watched and I really liked. So I want to read this one. I didn't super care about this, actually. Like, I love Nancy Drew, but I just don't think I like the story. It was like some kind of a naming day celebration, kind of like, not Independence Day, but it was like they were celebrating the founding of their city or something like that. And they always put on a play, and I guess there was a lot of drama with who gets to be in the play, and yeah, so it's like, I just didn't like the storyline, I guess, because it was like, So I was just, I was underwhelmed, I guess I would say. But the writing, I didn't mind the writing, and it's a short book. And Nancy Drew, so. And the most recent book that I have finished, and the last one I'm going to talk about today, is Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. And this one, I liked the story overall, but I also feel a little torn because I feel like something lacking. And I think it was because the book is called Instant Karma, and the synopsis talks about how she has this power to give people karmic justice. I feel like that wasn't even the main point of the book at all. So I was just kind of confused when I was reading it, and all of a sudden something with this karmic justice thing would pop up, and I was like, oh, Oh wait, that's part of this book? I forgot. This whole book is mostly about, there's like a enemies to lovers type of situation, which I really liked. And I like the two main people in this novel. And this whole thing is about them working at an animal, like a marine animal rescue center. And she's working there, so he'll help her with her biology report. And he's there because his mom, like, owns the place, or like his mom runs the place. And he also loves the animals. And so she kind of grows an appreciation for, you know, saving seals, sea lions, otters. So I really liked that part of the story. So the karmic justice thing, I was just kind of like, I don't get how this ties into it. But the rest of the story is good. I'm going to stop here. Those were all the books that I have read thus far this year. And I plan on reading a lot more because I have a lot of books on my, like, TBR. Like, so many. And I keep renting them from the library, from the Libby app. I just keep renting them because I'm like, oh, I wanted to read this. And I'm like, wait, I need to read the books I actually have in my house first. Anyway, so I hope that you enjoyed this this video, and that maybe you'll be inspired to read some of these books. And I would love to know, if you have read any of these, what your thoughts are on them, or if you have any recommendations for me or for anyone else based on like the books I read. Anyway, so thanks for watching. This is kind of probably a long video. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.